How's it, grade 11s? Today we're moving on to solving equations by completing the square. Now, before I go on, I'm just going to be skipping a couple of the slides. I think it's better for me to go through a worked example to show you how this method works. Okay. So if we look at example 1, it says solve for x by completing the square, and I will work through it here with you guys together. So we've got example 1. Just want to copy it down quick. Okay. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to take everything to the one side. Now, as you can see, yes, I know the question said by completing the square, but I just want to show you that we won't be able to factorize this in our head anyway, because the factors of 1 are 1 and 1. There's no ways we can get to 4 with those two factors. So you see, you wouldn't be able to factorize it in your head anyway. So we're just going to follow it by completing the square. Now, in order to complete the square, grade 11s, first things first, we must make sure that the coefficient of x squared is 1. So here's my x squared, and the coefficient there is 1. We'll go through an example where it's not 1 in a second, okay? Now, the next thing that I want you to do is you're going to look for the coefficient of x. So here's our x, and the coefficient here would be minus 4. And what we're going to do with that minus 4 is we're going to take half of it, and that will give us minus 2. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take that minus 2 and we're going to square it, and we get 4, okay? And what I'm going to do with that 4 is I'm going to add it into this. So we get here x squared minus 4x. I'll just write those two down. Then I add this bit in here, plus 4. Okay, so that came from there. Then we've got this minus 1. Then, because I added in this minus 4, this plus 4, I added it in, I must take it away. By doing that, grade 11s, I haven't changed the sum at all, because you see, plus 4 minus 4, they will cancel, and we're just left with the original problem. But what I've done by adding in this 4 here is I have created a perfect square over here. So this little bit over here is a perfect square, this bit here. And what I can do is I can just factorize it. So this would become x and whatever we squared. So this will be minus 2 squared. All right, that's that green bit. Then I must just get these two together. So minus 1 minus 4 gives us minus 5 equals to 0. Now this is very similar to the homework that you did for me yesterday. I'm going to take the 5 to the other side. And then we take the square root of both sides. And remember, if we take the square root, it's going to be plus or minus square root of 5. And you can see we can't take the square root of 5 because it's going to be irrational, okay? And now I can split my two solutions. And there you go. We have solved this by completing the square, okay? And that is the method for completing the square. All right, let's have a look at the next slide. Okay, solve for x by completing the square. Just want to copy it down. We've got x squared minus 6x plus 8 equals to 0. Okay, so we've got everything to the one side, which is good. That's what we need. The next thing, grade 11s, is the coefficient of x squared 1? Yes, it is. Okay, again, don't worry about it now. I'll show you an example when it's not 1. The next thing that we do, you take half the coefficient of the x. So here's our x. The coefficient is minus 6. So minus 6, and we take half of that, and we get minus 3. Then we take this minus 3, and we square it, and that will give us 9. Okay, now remember with that previous example, I'm going to take that 9, add it in here. So x squared minus 6x plus 9 plus 8. But now because I added in this random 9 here, I must take it away to keep it exactly the same. Okay, so we added it in from here, and then we took it away. All right, now what have we done there? We have created a perfect square. So x and whatever we squared, minus 3 squared. And that was this green bit here. Okay, that gave us that perfect square. Then we've got 8 minus 9 is minus 1. Similar to yesterday's homework, we can solve for this. So we get x minus 3 squared equals 1. I'm going to take the square root of both sides. Okay, we can actually take the square root of 1. So we get here x is equal to, take the 3 to the other side, plus or minus, and the square root of 1 is 1. So x is equal to 3 plus 1, or x is equal to 3 minus 1. So x is equal to 4, or x is equal to 2. And we have solved it by completing the square. This is example 2. Okay. Right. Example 3. Solve for x by completing the square. All right, grade 11. So, first things first, is the coefficient of x squared 1? No, it is not. So we need to deal with that first. So what I have to do is I have to divide through whatever that number is. So if I divide the entire thing by 3, we get x squared minus 5 over 3 x plus 1 over 3 equals to 0. Okay, now don't worry about the fractions. The method stays exactly the same. Okay, so coefficient of x squared is 1 now. Now we can go into taking half the coefficient of x. So the coefficient of x is this, minus 5 over 3. And how do we take half of this? We just say divide by 2. Okay, now remember with your fractions, you can tip and times this. So it's minus 5 over 3 times 1 over 2. And that gives us minus 5 over 6. What do I do with that minus 5 over 6? I take it and I square it. And that gives us minus 25 over 36. I take that minus 25 over 36 and it's not going to be minus, it's going to be a positive. Apologies, it's because we squared it. I'm going to take that 25 over 36 and I'm going to add it into here. So we get x squared minus 5 over 3 x plus 25 over 36 plus 1 over 3 from there. But because I added this in, I must take it away. Minus 25 over 36 equals to 0. And then we take it away. Okay, so what have we done there? We've made a perfect square. So x and whatever I squared, minus 5 over 6 squared. Now this little bit over here, what we can do is you can just punch it in the calculator. So we've got 1 over 3 minus 25 over 36. And we get minus 13 over 36 equals to 0. Take this to this side, we get x minus 5 over 6 squared equals 13 over 36. Take the square root of both sides, plus or minus the square root of 13 over 36. Okay, take that to that side, and we get x is equal to 5 over 6 plus or minus. Now, the square root of 13, leave it as the square root of 13. The square root of 36 is 6. Okay, so now we're ready to split our solution. So this will be 5 over 6 plus root 13 over 6, or x is equal to 5 over 6 minus root 13 over 6. Okay, grade 11s, that's that one. Okay, guys, if you could do exercise 2.6 for homework for me, please. Thank you.